So yeah, nice. And put your left foot up. There you go. Nice smell.
Is that all right? Yeah, perfect, mate. So, who's the resident sommelier then ahead of the weekend trip?
I think Anthony Belly will be giving us the lowdown on the wines. Yeah.
Dallas was saying he might be booking some restaurants for post-match.
Yeah, I think we might have a bar or a restaurant that we're going to, so get a chance to explore some of the local wines maybe, but we'll see.
Is that part of the fun of these European Champions Cup trips? You talked about, Dallas was saying you like to sort of enjoy the away trip for the city and the experience of it, rather than just kind of get in, see a hotel, see the stadium.
Yeah, it's not it. You know, logistically, it depends how much time we had. You know, when we went to Poe, it was very much in and out, just because of the way we're flying and stuff. But when we do have the chance to, you know, take the whole thing in, take the whole experience in, is something that's definitely encouraged. It's one, you know, and you know, credit to Dallas for, you know, encouraging us to do that and make it part of the fun of it, because it's special getting to play in Europe and getting to play against teams you don't normally play against, getting to play against, play in stadiums with different fans and play in areas and that cities you've never been to before. So it is really cool to be able to take that in when we can. And, you know, if anything, we felt like that's helped us put performances on the pitch by like just buying into the whole atmosphere of it being something different, something exciting. And then, you know, occasionally getting a chance to celebrate that in the town or city afterwards.
What are some of the best experiences you've had away from the pitch in the Champions Cup? Things you've seen, things you've done?
I'd say we went to Pretoria. That was cool. Obviously, it was their summer, our winter, and so getting a bit of chance to have some sun. We did a game drive over there. Got to go around Pretoria a little bit as well, and that was just something different in the middle of the English winter. It was nice to get out and see something different, see some wildlife and stuff. And then what else would we have had? I'd say Munster was a really good one when we won Thomond Park, and then we had a few drinks after that game. That was a really fun one.
Was it a classic Irish pub?
Yeah, exactly.
The fiddle in the corner.
Exactly, yeah. Live music and Mumford and Sons, etc. I couldn't really ask for much more. I was in my element.
And in terms of the Champions Cup, there's a lot of debate around the format of it and stuff like that. And you know, there's some real mismatches, and there's some like big, like classic Champions Cup games like yours against Bordeaux. What do you make of the whole format with the South Africans and the sort of a lot of teams? Would you have a player's view on it?
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, the chance to go and play a South African team and go to South Africa, you know, aside from the difficulty of the travel, which can take a lot out of you, like I like it. It's exciting. I enjoy these new experiences, and so getting to travel to somewhere new and getting to play new teams is something that I personally enjoy. But you know, that individual aspect isn't necessarily what's important from a big picture point of view. I think it's always going to be tricky when teams are stretched financially in terms of their squads, and then you're asking them to perform both in their domestic league and Europe. I can see why there's situations arise that teams end up having to prioritise. It's obviously a shame for the viewers, and you know, trying to think of a format where that doesn't happen is definitely beyond my remit. But for us personally as a squad, like, we still love this competition. We've had some real joy in it over the last 2 years. And it's something I personally and the squad personally really look forward to. So I can see why, from an outsider's point of view, there'd be a few question marks potentially around the organisation of it, but I'm not quite sure, what the solutions would be there.
Will you, throughout the week, speak about last year's final? Does Henry Pollock push that revenge narrative through the week and all that kind of the stuff he had going on with him after the match?
I think for him it's just the chance to go and let his rugby do the talking, I know for a fact he's really excited for this weekend, really buzzing. He's a confident kid. He'll run into any challenge head first. So he's not really driving any narrative. As always, he drives the energy in the week. He's loud and gets in your grill even sometimes when you don't want him to. So we've just had a big training session. He was on it today with charging around. So he's obviously looking forward to it. But
what's he like? Does he? Anything stand out today?
It'll be like 8:10 in the morning. You're doing your warm up set for your first gym session. Maybe you're just slowly getting into the day. Feeling a little bit sleepy, and it will just be in your ear shouting, like jumping around, dancing, telling you that he's stronger than you and he's going to lift more weights than you and stuff like that. And you're just like, Pollock, relax. We're literally just warming up, but stuff like that. And for a week like this, that sort of energy is something we can really lean on.
And just for you personally, obviously, like it's January, every performance now gets looked at through a sort of Six Nations prism and that sort of thing. Where do you see yourself in that England mix? You're sort of edging closer and closer over the Borthwick era. You started against the All Blacks. Like, where do you see yourself? Do you want to cement that place, starting place in the England team? How do you look at it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to cement their place? The way I look at it really is just last season, my goal was to try and get a chance to play a bit more regularly, show the coaches what I could do, try and earn some trust. I feel like I did a fairly decent job of that in terms of looking back on it. I felt like I gave my best to that. I worked really hard to get to that position, and then I felt like I gave my best out on the pitch, and then from there we just sort of see where selection goes. There's so many good players, all with different strengths, all can bring something different to the game. I feel confident in my ability to make an impact if I was picked, but I'm realistic that there's lots of competition for places, so you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. And I found in the past when I was younger, and if I was too focused on what would the England coaches think, where does this leave me, then suddenly that's just an extra layer of thought of baggage on the pitch when you're going to play. So you've got to kind of try and park that in the back of your head and just focus on the here and now with Saints. And then, like you said, if you can perform better in these games, then it leaves you with a better chance going into Six Nations. So we'll see how we end up there.
And as a second row, who are the players that you compare yourself to? Because you got quite a unique skill set really as a second row.
Yeah, I guess I'd be on the I'm trying to think. Someone like Mostert for South Africa, I'd say, is someone who I'd look up to as a player that does a lot. And same with Northampton, I think it is, the other South African. Someone that gets around the pitch, is involved a lot, a good line-out forward. Obviously, don't hit quite the same as him, but Courtney, in terms of his ability to, when he was here, just to work around all areas of the pitch, try and have as many involvements as possible. So again, someone that I'd try and look up to in that respect. But everyone's got slightly different skill sets. So I wouldn't say I'm in the exact mould of any of those players, but you just try and take little bits from everyone. You
mentioned two South Africans. Are they sort of the thoroughbred of second row play?
They do seem to produce some real top quality second rows, and their depth in that position seems super strong. I mean, already mentioned Northampton and Mostert, but obviously Etzebeth and Lou Diaga and all those players. So it's pretty crazy how they bring, and then obviously JJ Van der Mesh for us, completely different type of player to me, but another South African lock who's tearing up trees and potentially putting his hand up for a place with them, and then the English South African Dave Ribbons, my mate, playing in Toulon, tearing up trees, king of Toulon. So they do seem to breed them well in that country.
Why do you think that is?
It must be the red meat and the and the barbecues. I don't know.
Yeah.
They just breed big tough men, don't they? So you always know you're in for a tough day if you're up against the South African lot.
Do you know who you're rooming with at the weekend?
No, I'm not sure. I'm normally with Fraser Dingwall, but he's obviously got a head knock. So
Is that alphabetical?
no. Maybe initially it was, but
Right.
then after that we've built up a good relationship. Talk for a bit, then we'll sort of start to wind down. He's very chilled, so. But with his head knock, I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to turn around for the weekend. So I'm not sure who I'll
Who
end
would
up
your
with.
first pick be?
I used to live with George Furbank, so maybe with him he's pretty easy going. Whether or not he'd accept me in, I'm a bit of a Darth Vader, quite heavy breathing, so I'll have to see if he accepts me in.